seen my fair share of bad movies, and we all love ourselves some Manos, Troll 2. Heck, The Room has become this worldwide sensation over the past so many years. Oh, hi Mark. Get it? Because he says that in the movie. And, well, I love bad movies, or at least the so bad they're good ones. Occasionally I have this bad movie night with a good friend of mine. You know, we get some beers, we watch some shitty movies. And recently we've seen the likes of Love on a Leash and After Last Season. And that's really when you start asking yourself, is this so bad it's good? Or is this just so incredibly bad? Enter Things. Really, Things, it's on another level, man. It's a Canadian horror movie made in the late 80s by two horror fans that somehow got released on video. And I'm honestly not quite sure if there's any way I can prepare you for what we're about to see. So, you know, I figured let's just dive right in, and I'll walk you through the experience of watching the surreal fever dream that is Things. After this great production logo and title screen, things start out relatively normal for a crappy horror movie. This goofy looking dude wants to have a baby with this demon woman, or at the very least a woman wearing a very cheap demon mask. But turns out she already has his baby. Uh-oh. Fortunately, it was just a dream. And in case you forgot what movie you were watching some 4 minutes after you started it, here's another title screen, followed by the opening credits, and now it begins. See, the guy in the beginning, that's Doug. And now his brother Don and his drinking buddy Frank are coming over to his isolated cabin. I guess, if you can even tell what's happening here. And, well, this is where the frustration starts. See, and this is very important, none of the characters in this movie care about the actual movie that they're in. They really just want to drink beer and hang out.
It's getting kind of hot in here. Throw this in the freezer.
Storage, maybe.
What? That's Barry Gillis, by the way. He's the co-writer and producer of Things, so he chose to do that.
I think you've been reading The Lazy Man's Guide to Living a little too much lately. Next time you come with me, you're staying home.
Great writing. Anyway, there's an attempt at a story early on when they find a recorder and a book, in the freezer, of course, somewhat reminiscent of The Evil Dead, or as Don refers to it.
How'd that movie start that you're always talking about? You know, that weird one with all those weird things?
But that's not what this movie is about at all. If anything, it goes a little something like this. Doug and his wife, they can't have a baby, so this evil Dr. Lucas artificially impregnates her, and now there's all these little monsters in the house. But this movie doesn't do logic, or anything you'd expect from a traditional movie for that matter. So the plot is really just a minor inconvenience to the characters who, again, they're really just there to hang out. So for the majority of this movie, you're watching scenes like this.
Sounds good.
What sounds good? Definitely not this movie, which is perhaps a nice little bridge to its technical aspects. And in case you hadn't noticed already, it's absolutely terrible. The movie, it looks so ugly. The cinematography really is just try and point at the thing you want on screen. I believe almost all of the audio is done in post-production. It's a mess. Not to mention the editing, which is all over the place.
Scientists all over the world are very happy with the discovery, and if...
What? Throughout, they intercut the movie with this news anchor who's obviously just reading her lines of these, you know, like these off-screen cue cards. And that's porn star Amber Lynn, by the way, who stays completely dressed throughout the whole movie, and she is really only here in these completely unrelated scenes just so they could put her name on the box, you know, like for marketing purposes.
Are we still on air?
going on? And I can hear you thinking, so what? All bad movies are bad, right? I mean, you've seen a shitty movie before. They always look ugly. The acting, the audio, the editing, it's always terrible. What makes things so special? Well, I guess it has to be its complete lack of logic. It's just so nonsensical to a degree that it becomes fascinating to see how it goes against everything you know and have come to expect from a movie. Andrew Jordan and Barry Gillis, the two filmmakers responsible for things, apparently they were big horror fans growing up in the 80s, but honestly, watching things, it makes you wonder if they ever actually saw one, or any movie for that matter. Really, no review will do this movie actual justice. You really have to see it for yourself. And I know, I say that a lot with a lot of movies, but I feel like it's never been more true than in this case. So, for what it's worth, let's just take a look at a few more examples of why it's so terrible. Characters just disappear and reappear like it's nothing. Frank is literally gone for almost 30 minutes without any explanation.
I think he went into the third, fourth, and fifth dimension.
Yeah, I don't really count that as an explanation. And then he suddenly comes back wielding a chainsaw. Dog dies and comes back to life like twice or something. His wife dies as well, and still at no point are any of them really concerned with what's going on. Even with the whole house being affected with these giant spider monsters, it's so surreal.
Oh, joke's on you. Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I didn't hear nothing at all. I just didn't want you to pour any whiskey on me. Lost your train of thought, didn't I?
Shut the fucking booze.
I think I'll have another drink.
They just can't be bothered. At some point, Don has to go to the toilet, and for once he's somewhat worried about the monsters. So then follows a scene, literally 10 minutes long, of just them wandering around with flashlights. It's completely silent, besides this ambient soundtrack. And for the most part, it's just shots of them looking at the ceiling. It's... I have no words for it. I do actually kinda like the music, even though it sounds like these pre-recorded demo tracks you'd find on a cheap Casio keyboard, but in an odd way, it does help with the experience.
See what we have here.
Getting kind of nosy, aren't we?
But I don't know what that says about the actual quality of the music itself. The actor playing Frank, he was in this band called Familiar Strangers, who did some of the music for this movie as well. And this song, Tailspin, which plays throughout, it's actually pretty dope. But my favorite part is probably towards the end, when the evil Dr. Lucas arrives.
This is ghastly, brutal, horrible, insane. Blood and guts, that's all that's left of her. That's human blood, alright.
Don believes that he's responsible for everything that's been happening, but Dr. Lucas, who can barely contain his laughter during any of the takes they put in, he acts like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
The creatures were here. They were here. You gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. We even killed a bunch of them.
Ah, you're a real Looney Tune.
One more.
Ah, you're nothing but a joker, man. There ain't nothing here. Don't give me this shit.
Ah, Dr. Lucas. And then, after some 80 minutes of running time, truer words have never been printed. Well, that's things for you. And again, one more time, and I can't emphasize this enough. Any review, this one, it doesn't do this movie any true justice. You know, I tried to show a few funny scenes, but I could easily fill up a whole much longer video with every funny and remarkable bit that happens in this movie. But, you know, in that case, you're probably better off just watching the movie for yourself. And actually being serious when I say it. Check it out, it truly is an unique experience. So yeah, show the guys some love, buy the Intervision DVD. I mean, as much as I am shitting on this movie and the guys that made it, they did shoot a feature-length movie on film. They added special effects, they made a soundtrack, all of the audio was edited in post-production, and somehow they got it released on video. Gotta respect that. So yeah, how do I end these videos again? Cheers.